The Marcos administration now faces the challenge of securing funding for 3 major railway projects. Here's what we know. The government first submitted its loan application to China back in 2019 for the construction of the Calamba-Bicol, Clark to Subic, and Mindanao Railway projects. But the Philippine government deemed the loan applications canceled after Beijing's refusal to respond to the matter despite numerous follow-ups. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is now eyeing both foreign and private sector support to fund these projects. For its part, the Transport Department admits government does not have enough budget to push through with the 3 railway projects on its own.
Gusto nating malaman ng tao, walang pondo para sa Calamba to Bicol. Kung ano yung 142 billion na pinag-usapan doon, walang pondo yan. Yung Clark to Subic, walang pondo yan. Yung Tagum Davao-Digos, 100 kilometers, walang pondo yan.
Here to share his insights on the government's railway projects is Cagayan de Oro Representative Rufus Rodriguez. He's joining us live via Zoom. Welcome to the big story, Congressman Rodriguez.
Mayong gabi, good evening, Robbie and Gretchen, and to all your viewers tonight for the big story.
Mayong gabi, sir. Sir, to make a long story short, mukha namang inupuan lang ng China itong application. Nothing moved to the point that we had to essentially officially call what had already happened, which is that this is basically ignored and unacted upon. Is there any wisdom to even picking up the negotiation with China?
There's no more rationale why we continue with China. Stated by Undersecretary Cesar Chavez, there was a letter by our Secretary of Finance last February, precisely to follow up on the loan application because so many things have been done. The feasibility study is already approved. Already 2019, there was already a application for a loan. And then there was no answer to the letters, the final letters. Before that, there were also follow-ups, meaning that the request for the Chinese government to give and nominate, for example, 3 contractors we have chosen, and we will finally decide which to get, they did not answer. And that is why it compelled the national government to declare it as, as no more, as a loan that was not granted by China. So we have canceled it. And so therefore, it is clear that China failed in its promise to really finance these 3 railway projects. And that is why, especially because there is a Mindanao, the 3rd project there, is Mindanao, only 83 billion to start the first railway project in Mindanao in the Region 11 area from Tagum, Davao del Norte to Davao City to Digos in Davao Sur. I really strongly feel that we already would go to other sources of funds, meaning multilateral organizations like the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, and of course, countries where we don't have any conflict. The problem, Robbie and Gretchen, with proceeding with China, if we continue negotiating with them and we need the money, for example, then there will be more strings attached to these loans. And there is a conflict between China and our country. And this is a economic zone that they are intruding, that they are claiming. They do not even recognize the July 2016 decision of the Arbitral Tribunal in Den Haag. And that is why I call for the immediate negotiation with other agencies that can give such loans.
Congressman, 2-parter here. One is, very quickly, you mentioned our conflict with China. Is that essentially what caused all of this and what essentially caused them to ignore the repeated reminders and the repeated, just the nudging from the government that, uy, nag-apply na kami, ilang beses na kami nagbibigay ng ano, it's all still enacted upon. Was that basically what caused all of this? And then, more importantly, to your second point, multilateral agencies, other countries, what about private sector funding?
Also, the first one, yes, precisely, its actions would show. Alam mo yung Mindanao Railway, Robbie, it is 6 years in the making. Nagubo pa lang ni President Duterte, there was already an order to make the feasibility study for that part of Mindanao. But I would like to tell you that even before President Duterte came into power, we already in 2010, through the late Speaker Nograles, Prospero Boy Nograles, we were able to get funding for this first leg at the time, which should have been Cagayan de Oro, the Gendingan Airport, and then going to Iligan. But, the President, so there was a project study already, which was ready for funders. Now, the President came in, it was fine because that is his region. So, 2016, start na. So, 3 years yung study. Tapos 2019, application na talaga. Tapos na yung groundwork. But now, look at what happened. 6 years in the making, China did not answer our letters, did not continue with the process of giving us the names of the contractors. Now, therefore, we can clearly see that China is not committed to finance these 3 projects. So therefore, I don't know the reason there. Would they say that it's in conflict? We have a conflict with them, or at the same time, it can also be a carrot that they're giving to us. But whatever it is now clear that they have dropped the ball. So therefore, wala na. So therefore, it is also to me a blessing because when we continue with China, again, there will be strings attached. So as what you are asking, the second question is, yes, let us go to multilateral organizations like World Bank, Asia Development Bank, or countries where we don't have any big conflict, like the West Philippine Sea with China. So that is, for example, USAID. That is JICA with Japan, with the Korean agency or the EU funds. That can be done, or really, for Mindanao, it's only 83 billion. If you make it 3 years to implement that can be finished in 1 year, 3 years, it's only, Robbie and Gretchen, only 30 billion a year for 3 years. Now, our budget for this year is 5.2 trillion. And by next year, it will be higher. So that is what I'm saying. There are other possibilities, but let us now look and to different funders rather than China, Robbie.
Congressman, what are your thoughts on the so-called Chinese debt trap, and how vulnerable are we to that?
That's also one. There are many experts which said that, first we will fall on that debt trap. And then as many countries are, like Sri Lanka. So there are things that are quite true, no? So let us not have that. We cannot have so much from one country. But fortunately, of the loans and aid coming from other countries, Japan has 43%. China's only 6 to 7%. So that is why, there is that debt trap. But the real problem is that if we fight and we urge the presidency and the administration of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. to really assert our victory in the Hague Arbitral Tribunal, because we were quite soft on that during the administration of President Duterte. So now let us fight, because actually in the hierarchy of rights of a sovereign nation, well, you can get some economic benefit, some social benefit, but the primary in the hierarchy of rights of a country is the sovereignty and the sovereign rights. And we have sovereign rights over the West Philippine Sea, which we should protect as the primordial aim of our country, Gretchen.
Okay. Congressman, balikan ko lang yung kanina, specifically, private sector participation in these projects, what do you think, what are the options there? And then beyond China, what does this all tell us about PPP versus ODA?
Okay, so yes, these are possibilities of sources of funds. Yes, certainly we have big corporations and big businessmen, and we already have the program of PPP, as you have mentioned, Robbie. Public-private partnership. This could be done together because 83 billion, I'm just talking, I am really trying to bring about the fact that Mindanao, up to this time, has no railway, and we are the second biggest island, which is contiguous, no? In Luzon, especially in Manila, there is an East Rail, there is a West Rail, there is a South Rail, there is a North Rail. But Mindanao, not an inch of rail. And that is why I've been fighting for this since 2007 when I became congressman. So therefore, what I'm saying is that let us also take a look at Mindanao and have a pivot to Mindanao to also help the people from Mindanao where I come from. So that is what I'm saying, that we have our businessmen, there is the PPP. Why not offer this to, first, of course, the multilateral? Because, of course, our local business are also in their big-ticket projects and their PPP. Now, but one particular source, possibility, is, of course, our big businessmen who are Filipinos who feel for the entire country and for Mindanao and also for the Laguna to Bicol and also for the Clark to Subic. All this. We can also be able to request our businessmen who are into many PPP projects to consider this, Roby.
Okay.
Alright, maraming salamat, Congressman Rufus Rodriguez.